Guys, today I want to speak a little bit about one thing in your life that's your true self and your false self. The false self is who you think you are and which holds you back because it's not who you truly are, and it happens for various reasons. One of the reasons in my case, I had somebody that I looked up to that was a strong role player in my life when I was younger, very much so, and he used to tease me and sing, and he also sang a song to me that, hey fatty boom boom, over and over to such an extent that I actually became to believe that I'm fat, even though at that stage I wasn't fat. And that made me, one of the reasons, it's not the only reason though, that made me to become the person that I eventually believe I was. That is your false self. You think to yourself, I'm fat, I'm overweight, and I can't control it. That's not true of any person. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've spoken to you a little bit about a previous blog that I've written, and you can see the link below, and also the video that I've made about that. But your true self, who I am, is who God say I am in my frame of reference. In your frame of reference, it must be somebody else, or it must be something else. But in my frame of reference, that is it. And he says to me that he gave me a spirit, not of fear, but of courage, self-discipline, and love. And that's who I am. I'm a disciplined person at heart. So the false self, for various reasons, sometimes tends to dominate our thinking. There's so many examples of false selves today. People that think that they need to buy stuff to be happy. And that's another false self. Or people that's anything that's where you show you're not emotionally intelligent, where you handle stress and anger and things in the wrong way, where you try to control people to think the way you think, and you can't handle it if people think differently. That's all stuff that is the false self. It's not the true self. So today I'm going to show you what you should do with the false self. Anyway, a little bit of imagination is going to be required. Then, in the line of this, what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about a song that Kenny Rogers, for you who don't know Kenny Rogers, please Google him. He wrote a song about Coward of the County. I don't know if you remember, about this guy who had a son, but he was a fighter and he died, and his words was to his son, you don't always have to fight when you're a man. And then the son grew up with that, he never fought back, never what, until one day the guys in the bar went and did something to his wife that was not so nice. And then the story goes that he came into the bar, locked the door, and then he beat every single person up in that. And he ends the words say, Father, sometimes you have to fight when you're a man. And so today, I do speak sometimes about the fact that I'm a Christian, a believer, but I'm not a holy Joe, and so don't take me that as a guy with a halo around his face, his head here, and everybody just shivers when they get into my presence because of my holiness. That just does not happen, because that's not the person I am. So in the line of that, I have to say something similar to what that song of Kenny Rogers says, and that is, sometimes you've got to swear when you're a Christian, and you'll see why in my movie. So this is what I have all my life. I had a battle between my true self, trying to control my eating habits, other aspects of my life as well, but this time I'm speaking about against my false self. And I love boxing movies. I don't know if you like boxing movies. Southpaw, Rocky 1 and 2. I really enjoyed those movies. The Champ. And that's a very old movie. Anyway, but I like good boxing movies. So today, what I'm going to say to you is I'm going to have a boxing match between true self and false self. So it's going to need a little bit of imagination, because I don't have a boxing ring, and I don't have the right boxing gear, and I don't want to take off my t-shirt and expose you to my man boobs, that might not be a good thing. But anyway, so just here as I am, you need to have some little bit of imagination and see what I'm trying to achieve here. So True self is in a boxing match with false self. False self is way ahead on points. We're like in round number 10. It's the penultimate round, and true self is really, really beaten up. The eye is bleeding, and the lip is standing like this, and he's just tired, and it's sweating, and he doesn't have any more powers. And false self is way, way ahead on points. So true self says to himself, listen guys, if I want to win this fight, I have to knock out true self. That's the only way, because he knows in his head, he's taken so many punches, he didn't land those many good punches, so he's behind. He's been losing the battle for quite some time now, and the only way you're going to get rid of false self is to knock him out. So they in round 10, the penultimate round, and they're boxing, and he's hitting and he's blocking the moves and whatever, and he's thinking to himself what strategy can I do, and they hit and it's blood pouring from his face, and his lip is still standing like this way, and it's just bad. He's in a bad state of mind, and as he's trying to think his strategy to knock him out, he dropped his card and he's dropped his fist, and he walks into a fist of false self. Wow! Right here, in the middle of the face, his face becomes a different shape, and he just feels there he's going. Oxygen is gone, he's just going backwards. It's like the movies where he goes back slowly, and he's falling, and the sweat is dripping, and it's slowly but surely he's going backwards. And he hits the ground, the floor of the boxing ring, and there he lies, out, called out. And he says, and he's not with himself at the moment, but slowly but surely he starts realizing, and he can see through his eyes the crowd's going mad, and false self is jumping there up and down, and the judge is here in front of him counting off, and true self just says to himself, listen, I don't know how, but I am not going to be knocked out this time around. I've got to get up. And with his last strength in him, he gets to his knees, and the referee asks him, who are you? And he says, I'm true self. And he stands up, and his legs is a little bit wobbly, and his arms, and he can't see. There's 16 people in the ring, only if there's 3 people, and he's really in a bad state now. Luckily for him, the bell goes for the end of the round, so he didn't have to go further, and he just falls back into his corner, and there he just sits, not knowing he's down far by points. He's been knocked out now once, and he doesn't have any strength left. He is tired, man. He's exhausted. He doesn't know what to do, and the coach is giving instructions here, but he's not hearing anything. He's just so tired. But in his head, he's saying to himself, I've got to land that punch. I've got to land it. So the bell rings, and it's the beginning of the first round, and they again sparring, hit, stomach, body, you know how boxing goes, and they hurting, but still false self is getting better punches in than true self, so he's getting more far ahead on points, and true self is realizing. So, and at one stage he sees his opening, and he draws back, and he connects false self here, but at the same time false self did the same thing, and he connects true self here, and they both falls to the ground. Now who's going to get up? And they stand, and it's a struggle. One is to the knees, and then he lies back, and the referee doesn't know who to count out first. He's up and down, up and down, up and down, like somebody's eyes watching tennis, and up is false self standing wobbly, and he's just hoping true self is not getting up, but true self actually gets to the rope, and he pulls himself up, and he stands there wobbly. So now true self says to himself, I got him. if I can get in the next time, even though I'm low in points and I'm so tired, and the blood is gushing from his eyes, and his lip is even worse. He can't see. This eye is like swollen, also closed, and he can just barely see through that eye, and he's just in a bad state. And false self is standing there a little bit shaken. He didn't think that in the last round this guy will still have the power to hit him. And then they at it again, and they start, and they fight, and true self gets a good full of punches in, and he's getting another one in, and he's going a lot better, but he's still far behind on points. So he's boxing, and he's boxing, and then suddenly he sees the opportunity, and he changes his feet and the way he stands, and he comes through with a southpaw, and puts his body weight behind it, everything he has, and he hits false self here on the chin, like that, southpaw him. And false self is going down, slowly but surely, very slowly he's falling down. And true self is like exhausted, watching this. And the referee's on his knees and he's counting. And false self just wants to get up because he's been in control for so many times of this match and his life, and he's been in control, and true self says no. And then in the spur of the moment, True self walks up to false self and say, stay the fuck down. Because if you don't stay down, I'm going to get Chuck Norris to teach me the roundhouse kick, and then I'm going to annihilate you. And he walks away, and false self just couldn't get himself up this time. And he just... And true self wins the match. Finally, in his life. And this is where I am at my stage. My life is full self has been control of my weight so many times. I have so many wrong beliefs over a long period that fat is who I am. You are never your addiction. You are never your problems. You are always the person God created you to be. And, or you believe you are, or whatever you believe. But you are never your problems. You are never your crisis, and you are never, ever, ever your addictions or your mistakes. But false self led me to believe that I'm a fat person that's not capable of self-control in this area. But now I'm in the final round with false self, like my boxing match, and I am gonna get him on the chin. And even if I go down a few times, man, this time around, true self, the true self, must stand up. And I believe I can, because I've prepared myself mentally. I believe that through life, God has put the right building blocks in place for myself. And so, don't believe the negative things about yourself. Don't say the negative things, because that is false self. True self is the true person you know deep inside. You really are a loving, caring person that's not addicted, that can control themselves, that can make the right decisions. Remember, that is who you really are. So, on that exciting boxing note, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to do a blog about how you make choices and how false self and things like that also plays a role in your choices, because it's not what they say that it's you are the choices that you make. It's much more complex than that. It's not as easy as that. It's oversimplifying the problem and believing that and saying that to people who deals with problems is now I just can't say the right word, but it's confusing them, and it's contributing to them being more confused if you say that it's, you are the choices that you make, because life is much more complicated than that. And that I'll either speak about the next time or write my blog about it. So you can go to www.dantheweightlossman.com and you'll find the article there. I'm going to write about it. So this is Dan the Weight Loss Man saying, adios amigos. Bye bye.